Well, hi there, everyone, and welcome. I'm so glad you're joining me today. I've got another meal in a jar recipe for you. This one is for an autumn squash soup. I'm using two kinds of squash in this. I'm using the Thrive Life freeze-dried butternut squash and a little bit of canned pumpkin in there. I love butternut squash because it's slightly sweet, but not overly so. So you could really go one of two directions with it. You could kind of lean into the sweet side of it and create something delicious that way, or you could lean more to the savory side and create something delicious in a different way. So I'm going to balance both of those and lean into both. This is going to make about 3 or 4 servings. 3 if you're just eating this, if this is your main dish. 4 or maybe 5 if you are going to serve this as a starter or before a meal. And one of the really cool things about working with freeze-dried ingredients is the fact that they powder up beautifully. So if you're wanting a soup that's going to have a velvety, smooth texture, instead of storing the chunky ingredients and then blending hot soup, you can blend it beforehand and store the powders in a lot smaller container. So all I'm doing is putting the ingredients for the soup into my blender, and I'm going to let that go for probably 30 seconds or so. It kind of depends on how powerful your blender is. Mine is just from Walmart. It's a Ninja, and I probably blended that for 30 or 45 seconds to get it good and smooth. You want those ingredients to be nice and powdered. And then I put them on the bottom of a pint-sized jar, and I'm just going to add some powdered things to the top of it. Some butter powder and some bechamel sauce powder and a little bit of kosher salt. That bechamel sauce is not only going to give it flavor, but also help it thicken up a little bit. All right, and I've got heavy cream powder, cream cheese powder, and here's a little bit of that pourable brown sugar. I'm leaning into the sweetness. That's going to pull out the sweetness, a little bit of that butternut squash. And then the chicken bouillon is going to pull out those savory notes. And just a little pinch of cayenne is really all you need. It will not make it too spicy. It's just going to deepen the flavor there. That's all there is to it, guys. This makes a great gift because it's a just add water recipe, and you're going to have a delicious butternut squash and pumpkin soup in about 10 minutes. It's really quick. And when you are ready to prepare this, it's super simple. All you have to do is get out a medium-sized soup pot and empty the contents of the jar into that pot. And then you're going to add probably about 3 cups of water. I added 3 cups here. If you want a thinner soup than what you see at the end of this video, you could probably do 3.5 cups or 4 cups. It's totally up to you. You'll bring this to a simmer over medium heat. And then now is a good time to add some pumpkin. 1/4, 1/2 cup, something like that. You could make this with only butternut squash. It's good like that. You could make this with only pumpkin. You could add that whole can of pumpkin if you don't have the butternut squash. This is a great soup. But I like the combination of both, and I'm calling it autumn squash soup because this is kind of my version of what Panera has, that restaurant Panera. And what they do is they sell the soup in these single serving little containers at Walmart. And I read the ingredients on the back of the container. And this is my version of it, a copycat version. So you can go ahead and taste that and see what you think. Adjust if you need to. That's also where you could add some more liquid if you think this is too thick. I think it's perfect. I think it's so perfect. But, I mean, that's totally up to you. Taste and texture, it's a very personal thing. So do what you think is best there. I like to top this with some pepitas. Those are pumpkin seeds. And just some freshly cracked black pepper. That's about all it needs. But gosh, isn't that gorgeous? Just look at the color. I think this is such an elegant soup. This is kind of fancy enough to serve to guests, even at a holiday gathering. I think this would be brilliant on a Thanksgiving table. But it's also just easy enough to where you could make this just for your family or just for you, on a Tuesday night. It's very easy. You only have to simmer that for about 10 minutes and then you're good to go. I think this is one of the yummiest soups. I absolutely love the balance of savory and sweet. The flavors are complex with the apples and ginger, the carrots, both kinds of squash, that cream cheese. And see how nice and thick that is, y'all? It's so good. The texture of the soup is velvety smooth. It's luxurious. It's really a great mouthfeel. And if you top it with the pepitas, that crunch is a nice addition. Oh, and if you don't have the heavy cream powder, you can use a can of that media crema that I showed you at the beginning of the video. That is nice and creamy too, and it's a shelf-stable cream. And my husband, who does not typically like this type of soup, he thought it was fantastic. All right, I will include the full recipe in the description box below, as well as my shopping link in case you want to pick up any of these Thrive Life ingredients. And if you like having meals in jars and you want some more recipes, I do have a cookbook out. I will include my website down in the description box below if you want to click on that. That's where you can purchase my cookbook. I've got over 90 recipes for meals in jars. It's a really cool book. I've got hyperlinks for the videos that show you how to make the recipes if you would like to look at those videos. I also have hyperlinks for some of the ingredients in there, and it'll take you to my shopping page. Well, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate your likes and comments too, so please do leave me a comment below. Even if it's just a smiley face, it'll help my channel. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day. And until next time, y'all, take care and keep thriving.